scale farmer, 2 to 5 hectares, you might surprise you that they are more interested in getting a tractor or getting mechanized farming than even the average person out there. Because with every good yield or with every good season, financially, it gives them an opportunity to increase the work they do, which increases their profit margin. Are you with me, please?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're getting access to tractors. They can come in clusters. I think that's your question. Can you rephrase the question again so I don't miss it, please?
Okay, how can small scale farmers use mechanization on their small farms between 2 to 5 hectares of land? What would it look like for them?
Okay, it looks is what's about in this now? It's pretty normal for them for 2 to 5 hectares to use mechanized farming. In fact, we should long have left this place. This issue of having people who don't have access to mechanized farming, because it just means that you'll not be able to grow, you'll not be able to improve, you'll not be able to do more, which in the long scheme of things affects the food output of even the nation. Currently, we have about 21% of farmers in middle belt who have access to mechanized farming. I'm talking about small scale farmers, large scale, everybody put together. All right. So what it will look like for them is increased yield. What it will look like for them is more profit. From my experience, even when somebody has half an hectare, the person wants it to be done by a tractor. That's their first choice. Every other choice is secondary. When they don't have a tractor, they go for that. And the reason is because of what we have previously mentioned. The way the tractor prepares the soil, which enables them to farm and which gives them the assurance of good yield and good profit at the end of the day. So it's open for them as well. They're able to get it. The only challenge we have right now is access. Access to these machines, access to this equipment, access to what makes it easier for them. Because the big farmer is up there and is closer to the access point than the small scale farmer. But then again, the small scale farmers too can also access these things by following certain channels, which I'm sure we'll be covering in this.
Yes, let's discuss access, because you mentioned 21%, and I think that's actually a very small percentage, especially for a country like Nigeria that is an agricultural country. So how comes you're working in the middle belt, you're working with, I think, the low level people. So how comes? You said we're supposed to have moved past this. Why have we not? What is the issue exactly? How comes we're still discussing introducing mechanized farming at this point in 2025 in Nigeria?
We'll say consistency and then we'll say management. If if you take for instance now, it was in the news some time ago that government has imported 2,000 tractors from Belarus with share to farmers for preparation for this season. Now the rain is here already. The tractors, to the best of my knowledge, have not been distributed. Where they are, what they are doing, how they are kept, we do not know. So one of the challenges that we've had over time is access to tractor, management of tractors. I'm like to use tractor as an example because this is the one I have interacted with the most.
Definitely.
In as much as I've gone through planters, combined harvesters, and a lot, but tractor is like a day-to-day thing for me. And tractor is also what you use in starting the season. You understand? This is what you use for land preparation. This is what is needed when it starts to rain. Right. So if you discover there have been times when tractors have been imported to the country, state government are giving tractors to different sectors and all of that. What we have is that individuals keeping these tractors for themselves are not using it to serve the small scale farmers. There are villages that are purely a farming community. All the lands around them are for farming, and then there's not a single tractor in sight. There's not a single tractor in the local government. And sometimes the government sends one tractor to the local government and then they withdraw it back. Or
Mm.
the local government chairman, with all due respect, you know, keeps it for himself. But there have been measures right now where we have where these farmers can access the tractor. There are private individuals who run tractor hiring service like myself, like Hello Tractor, and a host of others. There are also other ways that they can class us as cooperative and approach the government to give them the tractor as cooperative. Naturally, government don't want to give it to an individual. So, but if you come as a cooperative, then they have a better chance. They stand a better chance of getting access to this tractor. We should long have moved past this. We should long have moved past this. I advocate that government should find a way to partner with private individuals and give that sector to them. Every year we have a new government, every year they're importing tractor. What happens to the one that they imported in the previous tenure? And this is not just for the federal level, this is also for the state level. Speaking to you in this state, in 2021, government brought in tractors. Last year, government brought in tractors again. Yet, if you go to local government now, none of those tractors, none, because on reliable information, none of those tractors are there right now. And the rain is about rain has started falling. The rain falls today, tomorrow, they're supposed to start working. When are you going to deploy tractors to this place? When is it going to get to the person with 2 hectares, 3 hectares? When is it going to get the person with 10 hectares? I don't know if you are seeing the whole issue. So when we talk about access, is government should make it easier. And some of these equipments are really expensive for the small scale farmer. Even if you talk about power tiller average is about 1.5, 2 million naira for 16 horsepower. Small scale farmer with 1 or 2 hectares, how is he able to afford that? It's an issue. So we expect that government should come in and give subsidized plans while also ensuring that private individual manages very well for these farmers to have access to them. For farmers to have access now, where we are right now, is they can get on aerial tractor or they can reach out to services or private individuals who own tractors and they do come to their community to do the work for them and then they're able to go. Alternatively, they can also pool funds together like a cooperative in their villages, in their local governments, and get this equipment for use. And then it works systematically from one farm to the other farm. In some places, churches come together and get this equipment and give it to their members to farm different farms. So there's always a way around it. Though.
So, if I hear you correctly, we have a disbursement issue. We
The
have a
management,
disbursement issue and a management issue. A management issue. All right. You have talked a lot about tractors, power tillers, planters. Can we just touch a little bit into the future of mechanization? What are new trends that are available in the agri space right now, and what should we be excited about? Can you forecast how long it will take for this to enter into Nigeria? Is it something we should look forward to or just look at from a distance?
you have to be optimistic. A lot can happen in 2 years, a lot can happen in 5 years. I mean, if you look at it, we never knew that we would have self-driving car in Nigeria so soon, or we have cars that you can charge, just as Teslas and the rest. So, but then we have it here, in as much as someone will say, oh, Nigeria is poverty capital, Africa and all of that, we have those cars here. So, when we talk about the future of agriculture, AI tech, yes, there are automated tractors. These are tractors that come and work on your farm, and as they're working, they are with GPS, so they take out the whole landmass, the area where they work. When you come next year to use them to work, all you need to do is just deploy them. No operator, nobody monitor them. They go around the same thing and they come and stop. They have that in there. We also have there are some students that came to do their IT with us, and they had what they call smart trainings, where they have apps on their phone. You go to the field, and there's something you are seeing on the crop that you don't like. You take a picture on an app, and it just brings out everything that is wrong with it. It also brings out what can be applied, how to be applied, when to be applied. So this is where we are moving to. We also have precision farming as well, where AI using data-driven information can accurately predict weather, predict time, predict conditions. All of this together help for good yield and increased profit. So yeah, we look forward to that. A lot can happen in 5 years, in 3 years. I'm not knocking it off.
In 3 years? Did you say in 3 years?
Did we think we are going to see Teslas in Nigeria by this time?
So we remain hopeful then. I would keep hope up with you.
Thank you.
All right. So you did talk about this you talked about automated tractors that need no operators. You just let them on the field and go. So but some people are very skeptical about these things because they feel nobody can do it better than human. You can't tell me a machine can do it better than I can. And people have certain mindsets around mechanization. So can you just debunk some of the myths that people have, things that you have heard people say or people believe about mechanization that is not making them engage?
Okay. There's no, I don't think there's any farmer who has had experience with mechanization that will come and say that labor will perform better than the mechanized equipment. But again, we allow people for their opinions. So some of the myths is that having access to these equipments are out of reach. Meanwhile, a lot of people have never tried. They only come to try the dying minute. For instance, now we give out tractors for hire. We could go throughout till getting to May. We've not had anyone approach you. They don't know how much it is. They've not taken the step. From afar, it's expensive, it's big, which is why it feels like only governments are having that. No, but it's not. And then technology has made it possible such that we have smaller tractors, really, really small tractors that can be used for smaller farms. We have different equipment for almost every size. It's just that with each level, there's so much, there's a limit to their output. There's a limit to what they can do. So for every farmer out there, just to complete, you can always get an equipment close to you. You can always get an equipment, a mechanized equipment to do your farm. And then there's this thing about so it damages the soil. No, it does not. If there's anything, it helps the soil. There are many weeds that will not die or you will not be visible except a tractor goes through that place, turns the soil upside down, and then you can apply weed killers. A human being going using your hole cannot even get to the depth that the tractor will get to, which is the first thing. Secondly, your hole cannot level the whole field. Take an hectare, which is like a football field, for instance. How would the hole level all of that? But a tractor will do that. A tractor with an harrow would level it such that it is evenly distributed and saturated and ready for planting. So yeah, these are some of the myths that I like to debunk.
Okay, so I believe we need more trainings like this, either from private organizations or from government, because you said no one who has tried it would say it is not good enough. But then there are certain people that have not tried it at all. There are certain people that are just stuck in their ways and believe that, oh, this cannot work. I mean, we do still have people that believe washing machines cannot clean your clothes very well.
Very
So
true.
definitely we will have people that think, oh, the machine is going to damage the soil. It's way too expensive. It's too big for them. They just have a small farm. Let them do their thing manually. So I think that's what trainings like this are for, to debunk myths like this and open mindsets of individuals.
Yes, you're very correct.
All right. Moving forward, let's discuss access. You had started to discuss about cooperatives. So can you just tell us the several ways that people can access mechanization? From the little ways, because you said there are some smaller tractors. So from the small ways to the big ways, how can they access mechanization?
Okay, number one, you can actually buy it. You can walk to the market, place the demand, and buy it. That's number
I
one.
see.
Not only like that. Number two, as I've said a lot, there are certain times that government come up with these avenues and opportunities for farmers to come and bid for tractors, bid for smaller equipments like threshers, planters, like power tillers, sometimes even tractors as well. This is an avenue for farmers to have access. Just need to be informed as at when you and keep tabs with the Ministry of Agriculture and other governing bodies that is in charge of this. Another access is also, like you said, private individuals, Hello Tractor, um, private owners, private companies who give out these tractors on lease and for hire as well. Uh, Another access is coming together, pulling funds together, and actually purchasing this. If it's too expensive for one or two persons, I have seen farmers who come with their friends together, big farmers, and then they get what they need to farm. And after farming, after doing for themselves, they serve others in their community. So these are the ways that you can actually access these equipment. Um, but one
Okay.
thing is important: farmers have to be informed. They have to be aware. They have to be part of what government is doing. They have to join these associations, media, so that when these things come up, they can know or they can have representative. There's the All Farmers Association, AFA, in almost every state in Nigeria. Being a member of this allows you to be informed of the happenings in the sector. You know, and there are other many associations like that, cassava farmers, beans farmers, and all of that. So applying yourself to this gives you an opportunity to hear when avenue come up for you to be part of where you can either own an equipment or get it to your farm to help you out.
Okay, but let's talk about the government influence. You mentioned that so you're part of the association. You hear the state government is bringing tractors, but it's been raining for a month, going to 2 months. We've not seen tractor. What would you advise these farmers to do?
Number one, as citizens of this country, we are allowed to hold our leaders accountable. So farmers should have representatives who go to the government and say, this is what is happening at local government, this is the time, this is where we need the tractors. This is number one. So um, how that later plays out, we will not know, we might not say, but at least you should take the step to hold them accountable, right? Number two is to reach out to private owners. There are a lot of private individuals who own tractors for PSK and then say, partner with them and say, please, after you finish your farm, you can come to my office. The number three would be to get the hiring service of companies who give out tractor for hire and to do that as early as possible. They're all over the country, they're in Abuja, they're in Lagos, they're everywhere. You can always get them to come and do your farm for a fee. The most popular one that we know, a lot of people know, is Hello Tractor. They have an app. You can from their app book and have that.
Okay. Thank you for that example because I was going to ask that do you have names of these organizations that they can reach out to? So there's Hello Tractor because people want to know like who are these
There's Hello
people?
Tractor,
How
there's
can we
Tracco
reach them?
Engineering as well. There's Hello Tractor, there's Tracco Engineering. There are a whole lot of others that give out these tractors. I can't just remember them off the top of my head right now. But for every farmer who's interested, you start making your findings from January, February, you'll be well acquainted with enough options. Moving from Kano to Kaduna, they're all over the place.
So that's actually very key advice that you start early. It's not
Yes.
when it starts raining, then you'll be looking for a tractor to come to your farm. So start early, start your research in time, find out what it would cost, sit down and make preparations before the time.
And also booking,
Oh,
very
okay.
important.
Go
Also make
ahead,
your booking.
please.
Yeah, I said also make your booking. Pay your deposits if you have to. This is what secures the commitment to come. As it stands right now, we do not have sufficient tractor to meet the demand for work. So it's meaning like a first come, first serve, or first to commit, first to serve basis. So farmers are to start planning early. I've had farmers who from January begin to reach out to me, telling me their intentions to use the tractor in May. They're already telling me in January. They already come to pay money in February. They say, go and use the money, do what you want to do. But when I need the tractor, I'll come for it at so time. So farmers should be proactive, which they are, but could be better preparation.
Okay, so if we are to break it down now, step by step on how to access mechanization. So first off, you do your research. You find
Yes.
out who around you can provide this, if it's the government, if it's a private institution, if it's a hiring service, do your research and then
Yes.
make commitment. Because I didn't know
Yes.
that you have to book. So you
Oh, you have.
book, you make commitments, you tell them the date you want, you tell them the size of your farm, what equipment you want. Do you also have to book for harvesters?
Yes, you
Just
can.
tell
If
us,
you
please, practically, how does this work? For instance, your hiring service, how does this work practically?
okay, how we do it is we have currently now we have like a spare or states that we are present in, which you rightly mentioned at the beginning, middle belts. So anything outside middle belts, we are not going. Anything outside Nasarawa, Taraba, Benue, uh, Shandam Plateau, say we will not go. But we have our presence in other states. We have our friends in Niger State. So if you want to go to Niger State or you have farm in Niger State, we can actually recommend someone for you. Right? So when you come
Okay.
to us, what we want to know is where is your farm located first? How many hectares? You want us to come there, then you make commitments. When you make commitments, then you schedule for it. Remember, there's not so much to go around. So we schedule you for it and then schedule other farmers around there. Sometimes we encourage farmers to come in clusters. When you come in clusters, it's much easier. Number one, when you come in clusters, you know the commitment level increases. The financial commitment also increases. And then we are now committed. We know that when we come to this area, we are going to service a lot of people, and not just to come to drive all the way down to do one person and then move all the way out again. So, but if you follow this step, we are bound by honor to be present there and do your work. So as I speak to
Okay,
you right now, okay, no, please go ahead.
go on, please.
Okay, no, we have farmers that have made commitments in Benue. We have farmers that have made commitments in Nasarawa. We have dispatched a tractor already to Nasarawa to serve those ones that have made it. The 1 year now is going to serve beyond the Benue, and that's just how it works. But without commitment, we move. We move to where we have the commitment.
Okay. So you mentioned that you can go throughout the middle belt. That is
Yes.
how far you can go. It means that there is a certain distance that a hiring service or whoever is providing these machines cannot go. So,
Um,
okay,
it's not a case of cannot go, but a case of will not go. You know, every
okay,
area have their different challenges. Sometimes insecurity will make you not to go to certain places. Sometimes going to certain places is that they already have in that in that state sufficiently, so you don't have to go there and just join them. You just live within where you can service the people you want to service. So it's not a cannot go. It's just a case of you will not go. Do you understand me, please?
yes. So there is no distance.
No,
If
there's no
it's
distance.
possible to have someone in Lagos come to me in Plateau State to work on my farm,
Very possible.
if
But
if they are
when I
satisfied
started
with
out, I
the
was in Lagos.
commitment.
When I started out, I was in
Okay.
Lagos, and I moved from Lagos to Shandam. I stayed in Shandam for months
Okay.
to work on 100-hectare army farm. I was originally from Lagos, born, bred, living, staying, working in Lagos. So there's just no distance you cannot move to.
Okay. But how do you transport these heavy machines? For instance, we have some farmlands that are already being washed away with erosion. Say there's a whole expanse of land and mine is somewhere in the middle and I want to use your tractor or one of your heavy machines. How do you get it there without affecting other people's farms? So how do you transport these heavy machineries? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, the picture I'm trying to portray.
Yes, yes. Although when you mentioned transports, I actually thought about interstate movements. And then when you now said to mention about your farm being surrounded by other farms, it's also a different different ball game entirely. We encounter these challenges oftentimes, which is why we talk about. Sometimes we end up not doing this farm that you just mentioned because we're not going to go over people's farm just
Mm.
because we want your farm in the middle, which is now where responsibility is on you. Knowing the location of your farm, you should make doing yours a priority first. Knowing fully well that if those around you have somehow enclosed you, you will not be able to get access.
Wow.
Yes, you will not be able to.
And
Farmers
road
are very
access is a
difficult
big
on their
issue.
land. Say again.
I said road access is a very big issue. Like not
Not
every farm
necessarily.
has good road networks that say a big truck can just ply comfortably without affecting other people's farms.
No, there's no way. There's no. But let me say something first. In the case you just mentioned now, is more or less like the 1 in 50 situation. Most times we don't have where a farm is surrounded by other farms. If I can say that, everyone has their portion such that you're able to have access to your farm at every time. Right? That's number one. Then number two, the tractor is not even meant for the major way or the highway. The tractor is meant for the farm. So if you check out the tires of the tractor, the track, the builds of the tires, you'll discover that it is
Mm.
meant for those kind of terrain. So tractor is not complaining. The only thing is if your farm is surrounded by other farm, you make it. It's not that we cannot pass through, but then if this person has planted, you are going to be doing damage to what they have already planted. Do you understand me? So it's just
Yes.
about everyone having their portion and doing it on time and having access. The situation you mentioned is 1 in 50. Yeah, it's really not the case. We've not really had
Okay.
it
So
has
I
happened on
asked because
really yeah.
so we have like say government land or something, a large expanse, hundreds of hectares, and then people just come to
Yes.
lease the land for the farming season and they
Yes.
just apportion different, some of these things are not very formal that you have a boundary or something. You just, oh, they
I
said
understand
from
you
this
very well.
cashew tree to that Iroko tree is my own.
I
So
understand.
how do you now access such places?
Okay.
But
There's a practical,
go ahead, please.
there's a practical example. I work with a firm and they own 100 hectares of land together in one spot, and then they give it to farmers, just like you said, 1 hectare to 2 hectares like that. And so you have a case where like somebody's one is by the boundary, another person doing it further in. What we do is that there's an agreement and say that this is the time tractor is going to come and work on everybody's farm. So we cluster everyone together, get their payment. So the tractor just come and runs through at once. If you miss that time, you've missed it. But it's not be bearing on anyone. I don't know if I'll be able to answer the question.
Yes, yes. So they can just have a schedule that, okay, this is the time frame
Yes,
for you to have tractors. Maybe you do your own in the first week of May, you do your own, so nobody's farm is affected once he has planted. But can you give
yes.
us the optimal season for each of these things? Like, what's the best time to use the tractor? What's the best time to use the planter? Which do you use after which? Like a whole flow for a farming season.
Okay. There's plow, which is basically for land preparation. So now when you start
Okay.
raining, what you want to do first, depending on what you want to plant, if it's rice, also depending on the land. Is it Padama region, which is prone to heavy rainfall, which is prone to water, flooding rather, basically flooding, or if it's just like a normal place where you can. So first of all, the tractor comes in, plows, break up the soils and all of that. If you're going to be planting rice, then the arrow comes in next, drives through, evenly separates, evenly distributes the soil all across space. Then next thing, depending on your capacity, you can also have a planter, calibrated planter with space measurements and how many seeds can be dropped per time. And then you have that attached to the tractor or you have that push, and then it comes and plants. After that, as well, you have those with knapsack sprayer who come in spray, kill up weeds, etc., etc. After that, you have the boom sprayers, which they use to spray fertilizers, liquid fertilizers, and all of that as well. After this time, we begin to look towards harvest, where you can decide to use combined harvesters or decide to use threshers, manual threshers, where women or men go cut this thing and then they come and put it in the thresher, or use combined harvester, which does the cutting, the threshing, the separation, the dehuxing, basically. So this is like the flow of what it is from start to finish. Elizabeth, are you there, please?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much for shedding light on that. Please, point of note, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat box and we will attend to them once we get to the question and answer segment of this training. Thank you so much. We have covered mechanization for small scale farmers. Now we would move on to investors. From the investor angle, how can you start a mechanization business? So for those of us who do not own farmlands, but we see you and we like the life that you're living, we want to be like you. How do we start? So first off, how is this a viable and profitable business? Respectfully, Mr. William, how do you make money from your tractor hiring service?
Okay. Um, Let me start by saying they say that not all that glitters is good. So the lifestyle you say you see you like, I'm not saying it is what it is. All right. Um, but opportunities always exist where there is lack or where there is space. So right now the opportunity that exists in this industry is because of government is not really meeting up to their own side of it. Right. So from the statistics we took at the beginning, when we talk about 21.7% of farmers, not population, of farmers not having access to this tractor. So you subtract that from 100, it gives an idea of people who do not get to see tractors, who do not get to have tractors. So if you scale this up, you discover that this is a very big industry. This is a very big playing field for investors to come into. Right? It is very viable as there would be you'll be compensated for your investment. All right. So how do we make money? How we make money is you deliver the service, the farmer pays for the service, and then you are you there, Elizabeth?
Okay, yes, I could not hear you for a moment there,
Okay.
but yes, I can hear you now. So could you just let us know what are some of the most in-demand equipment in Nigeria today that we can start with? For a start, what equipment can we start with?
Currently, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Oh, very good. For now, I would say tractors. Why tractors is because tractors can perform a number of functions. Tractor can be used for plowing, tractor can be used for harrowing, tractor can be used for ridges, tractor can be used for harvesting, tractor can be used for transportation of what you've harvested from the farm down to. So tractor is in demand, which is an evidence of this demand is the fact that if you follow the news in the sector, you find out that government keeps importing tractors, and keep promising to import more tractors. There were a lot of tractors imported in Niger State, a whole lot, and they keep importing tractors, right? Next would be harvesters. Harvesters, because there's a whole lot that is lost due to post-harvest losses, right? There's a whole lot of post-harvest losses because of the timeliness of harvesting what you planted and not being able to do that leads to losses, of course. Then we also have processors. These are these are equipments that we use for processing what we've harvested. So, for example, we have the one for tomatoes, we have the one for veggies and the rest. These are in demand right now because If you and I are very aware, there is a time in the country where you find out that tomatoes just become so expensive. But since that we're not planting enough, we are. So what's the issue? Between harvest and market, there's a whole lot of loss there. So when we have these equipments that can do that, maybe turn these tomatoes to pori and the rest, then we are good to go. So calling on investors in all these sectors, in these different, they can pick from either of these and decide to invest in. But for some, you also want to start with getting a power tiller, a handheld power tiller. So this is like a mini tractor, or less than a mini tractor. You can also give it out to some small scale farmers. It's better than using hoe, so they do it and they pay you for that as well.
Okay. One thing I noticed from when you were speaking, you kept talking about importing tractors, importing tractors. Do we not have locally manufactured equipment? Is there something wrong with them? Are they durable? Are they not more affordable? And why do we have a lot of importation and not emphasis on manufacturing in the country?
Okay, for now, we do not have the equipment or the machines to manufacture, but we do have assembly plants. So some of these tractors, they are actually assembled here in the country. But for now, we do not have a manufacturing plant. And this is not just only to our sectors, even for things like cars. We do not manufacture our own cars in the country, do we? Except for some success vehicles or thereabouts in the east. But hopefully, like we discussed here, this is the future. There will come a day they will be able to manufacture our own tractor. But for now, we are not able to manufacture tractor. However, there are all lots of other things that we do. We are able to manufacture threshers, which is what I also do. Manufacture rice boilers, you know, manufactures a whole lot of other handheld machines for farmers.
So are they more
But
affordable? Are they more durable for an investor? Should they get locally manufactured or which do you advise?
for an investor, I would advise that I forgot to mention that these examples I gave to you, their function is different from that of a tractor. So a thresher, a rice boiler, all these are different. Their function is totally different. I want to advise investors to come into the tractor space because as it stands, there is a demand. And that's the best time. So there is a demand for tractors. If you get in now, you're able to make an impact in that space while also making returns on investments. So our advice
Okay.
tractors and combine harvesters.
So how about people that want to, I know certain people that just go to rice farms and take the unprocessed rice with the husk and everything, and all they want to do is to polish the rice. Now we have polishers that I think are manufactured in Nigeria. So there, as you said, there are different spaces in this mechanization. And yes, I do hear that you advise that they come into tractor. But what about someone that chooses that his own space is in processing and he wants to go into uh that aspect? So what would you advise them?
We need everyone in the sector. So I would advise them to go ahead, but to do your findings, do your market survey, market research, have the data. I'm speaking on tractor based on data, based on experience, based on market research. You understand what I'm saying, back? So,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to do the tractor aspects for the farmer and then have the farmer experience loss at the harvest or the
Mm,
post-harvest aspect.
post-harvest, yes.
So we welcome everyone in the playing field, but there's just so much that we can do part time. So we now we've chosen to stay within the tractor space and the harvester space for now. There will come a time we'll also go to the post-harvest, the processors and the rest. You understand? So for anyone who's looking to go into that sector, I mean, you save a whole lot. You save a whole lot for us. You save a whole lot of losses. So just do your markets research, and then work with experts in that space, and then we'll be good to go.
Now let's talk about maintenance. Say, as an investor, I have gotten all of these equipment. I am ready to start. I am giving it to farms. I'm giving it to farmers to hire, make use of, and return. Say, I get a handheld tiller and I give it a, how do I maintain this equipment to ensure that my business is running smoothly, to ensure that I don't have to spend a whole lot on repairs all of the time? How do you manage your equipment and how do you manage your business?
Okay. I think that question is two in one. How do I manage my business and how do I manage my equipment?
Yes.
Let me start from the equipment. Basically, you want to hire the best hands. You want to hire experts because not just who knows how to operate it. You use expert enough to also to listen to the sounds that the equipment gives back. Certain things don't just happen. The equipment begins to give a particular type of sound, which is supposed to alert the operator that, oh, there's an issue with this thing, let's stop, let's do all of that. But from my own aspects, what I do is rightly get an expert. We do not hire a novice. You cannot use our equipment as your first trial into the industry. Now we have had drivers who come to us as our first trial. We attach them to an expert already. Right? On our own part also, we also enforce routine maintenance check. So it doesn't matter what's happening, it doesn't matter after every 3 weeks for the tractor, for instance, there's an oil change, there's a filter change, right? So we put these checks and then other things we also do is the land. When we talk about those who come to pay, you tell us where your land is. We go there and make findings. We are not going to go to places where the power tiller or the tractor will have to do so much work, where it will be exposed to tree trunks, having issues with tire, not having access to access road for mechanics and all of that. These are some of the checks we put in to ensure that we maintain our equipment very well. We do regular servicing. We do not play on servicing. So currently, we have an in-house mechanic. So it saves us, we are not guessing. We are not guessing. There's an issue, the mechanic dictates it and solves it there because uh, these equipments are expensive as they are, number one. Number two, as I mentioned from the beginning, if you remember, poor management. Poor management has always been an issue in running this type of business in Nigeria. So what do you see poor management? You have people driving these machines for hours and not thinking that it needs servicing just because they're not broken down. So if you're not able to manage them, monitor them, they will drive the machine until it knocks, and then there's an issue. But now, mind you, you could have saved a lot from servicing than what you saved from trying to get an engine for a knocked down tractor. You understand what I'm saying, please? So these are some of the measures that we put in place as a business. We inspect the land, we do servicing, and we use expert operators. We don't use novice. We do not use novice. And we do not go where we've not inspected the land. You know, all this is one out of experience. When you're starting new in the business and probably you are so interested in the money, someone can just come from somewhere unknown, come to the tractor, give you some sum of money. You are excited. You want to go and work. Then you get to the land and discover that the land is such a virgin land that it needs a bulldozer first before it needs a tractor. But then you have collected money, you have been committed, you might not know how to refund it or they are not. So you just have those kind of challenges. This is where experience comes into play. We do not go to lands that we've not inspected. We do not collect commitment from that. We do all of our findings. This way, it extends the lifespan of the equipment.
Okay, so now how would you advise someone that is just stepping into the game to start? So before we even talk about managing the business and keeping it running, how would you advise someone who is just starting? Say, I personally do not have any background knowledge on agric mechanization, but I just feel it's a very profitable business and I want to venture into it. How do I start and how do I keep it running?
I would suggest you start first by partnership. Partnership helps you minimize the risks. You partner with someone who is an expert in the field of play. It reduces your risks, right, by half. And then you can learn as you are working that because the price of ignorance is so expensive.
Mm.
If you venture out on your own and you are just trying to run the business, you're trying to start, you're trying to be nice to people, you are trying to not overdo and all of that. There are certain things that you would not know that if you partner with someone who is experienced, the person will know, and that person's experience will save you. So I advise first that you partner with someone that if you're a young person and you have the time, you can even intern at one of these companies. So you have on-field experience. You are exposed to the nitty-gritty of the business. That way, when you set out to start your own, you have a lot of information at fingertips to help you make quality decisions. So this is that. Then yes, I think that's that. I don't know if you want me to go further after that.
Yes, because one of the questions we have here is how can an investor start? So how would your structure look like when you're just beginning? How would you get these farmers to care about you? Do you just go and say, hey, I have a tractor, come and take my tractor? Or how do you go about establishing trust with the farmers when you're just starting off?
Okay, um, that's a good question. For an investor who is new to the field, if you did what I said initially, where you partner with someone or you intern on some things, you become familiar. The farmers know you, you also know the farmers. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, the first point of start would be partnership and intent. But if you are not talking about how do you want to run the business by itself and then own a space for yourself, I think that's also a different question. Okay. If that is the question you're asking, oh, very well and good. Um, in off seasons, you can go to these villages that you know and announce to them that you have or you provide tractor services. They are going to ask you some questions. They are going to know what type of tractors you have. They are going to know where you are. In some cases, they are also going to send representatives to come with you to the town to come and look at the tractors. Reason being that in time past, farmers have been deceived a whole lot by people coming there, then they have tractor and they're not sure when it was time, allowing them to wait, not show up, and then they miss out on that. Other times, they've also collected money, giving it to this person with the expectation that when it's starting, the person is going to bring the tractor. So either way, they are skeptical. When you go to them, they are going to representative to you with you to go back, confirm the tractor, see it with their eyes. If that is settled, then the level of trust has increased a bit. Now they know there's a tractor, right? Now, if you can get someone that speaks the language or you can go through a cooperative, then it's better. That way, the cooperative manages the trust of the farmer. You just have to do it the leadership of the cooperative. If you have them on your side, it's easy. They get the money, they give it to you, you bring a tractor, and then you work for the farmer. If you do this for one season, then you just have your customers for life. Then you uh, good service in place. I hope I'm able to answer the question, or you want me to
Yes.
please?
Yes, you have. When we take questions, we might delve deeper into that. But can you
Okay.
just share some income diversification ways, like apart from hiring out the machineries, is there something else that this investor could be doing to make money in this space?
Oh yes. You can sell seeds. You can sell chemicals. You can sell spare parts. Now, you can sell spare parts to tractor owners. You can sell seeds to these farmers, variable seeds, improved seeds, chemicals. Because remember, most of these guys are in the village, and so they don't really have access to some of these seeds, they don't have access to some of these chemicals, they don't have access to digital systems. Some don't even have access to fertilizers. So if you can, as an investor, get this book and get it closer to them, stand a chance of making some money also in that. All right. Yes. So yeah, those are the ways that you can apply income. You can also carry out training as well. Train them on good agronomic practices. Train them on how to get the best yield out of what they are doing with improved seed. Train them on using it on timely usage of fertilizers as well. All of that you can come in there, and when they begin to see the yields, they trust you and they do business with you. These are other avenues that investors can come in.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for shedding light on that. We would now be taking questions from the audience. We have some questions already in the chat. I read out one. I think the first question we had was how does one invest and monitor the investment in mechanization? So you have answered that question. Our next question says, how much is a thresher? Okay, you have more to say about investment?
Yeah, because the question is faced in such a way that I don't think the person wants to be a business owner. The person just wants to stay out and invest. All right. So
Yeah.
if you are saying you're a business owner and you're investing, it's a different case. Yeah, there are various platforms that allow for such investments. Our platform is one of that. Hello Tracker is one of that. There are other platforms that allow for that. And investors, depending on the organization and the structures, that you would know how to monitor your investment, and you also know the return on investment as is promised, and you also know where you stand, right? For for instance, for now, our model, what we do is ownership. So what we do like we crowdfund. We allow investors to crowdfund and become part owners of the tractors. So say an investor comes with five of his friends or they just come together and they get the tractor. No matter what he puts in, he owns a part of the tractor for life or till the day he wants to sell the shares. All right. So that way he's not just investing for the long term, not necessarily for just a cycle where you are probably 30% and you got no. Now tractor, everywhere you are aware, all right, and also make suggestions. Weekly, right? We have our mediums, though that we use that is beyond what we are discussing about here. But I just thought to share that because I thought that that is business owner point of view. It was asking from you to do something else, but he wants to invest in this and get its returns and monitor his returns. So that's why I thought to share that. I hope I've been able to answer the question.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Jesse, please, you can let us know if your question has been answered or you need more light shed on it. Mr. Nehemiah is asking how much is thresher, particularly multi-crop thresher. If you have an idea of what it would cost?
Okay,
Yeah,
someone speaking.
Please, if you're not speaking to us at the moment, can you please mute your mic? If you have a question, you can raise your hand and then we'll give you the floor to speak. Mr. Michael, could you please mute? Thank you very much.
So a treasure is around from 1.5 all the way to 3.5. For the multi-crop thresher, what it simply means is that you have you change the bits, like what you use in threshing rice, you remove it, put what you need to use to thresh maize, etc. You remove it also what you use to dehawks and all of that. So it's the range is 1.5 all the way to 3.5 for threshers. Yeah,
Okay.
there are companies that sell this on the go. There's Chinegi in Kaduna. They sell this.
All right, thank you so much for answering that. Someone is asking what the ROI is on having a tractor for 1 year. So if you could just tell us what the startup cost is and what the return on investment would be after a year.
Okay. The startup cost of owning a tractor is as expensive as 12 million, 16 million, 10 million, and just keep going further higher and higher because it depends on if the tractor is a two-wheel drive, if the tractor is a four-wheel drive. All right. It also depends on the horsepower, the ability to perform more work, and all of that. The return on investment also depends on the type of tractor that you have. I give an instance. If you have a two-wheel drive tractor, it means that in some cases you are limited to work. So if the ground is not so solid, if it's waterlogged area, you can't work there because your tractor will sink and you'll not be able to pull out, you'll not be able to come out. If you have a four-wheel drive, you can now work. What I would like to break down for this person's question is if the tractor works every day, then you stand a chance of netting an income of around 80 to 100,000 naira per day every time the tractor works under good condition, taking out fuel, taking out um, operator fee. You stand a chance of getting 80,000 naira to 100,000 naira per day every day the tractor works. So you could cumulate that for a month if you say uh, most optimal time like May, June, where the tractor works a whole lot. Yeah, you could now have an average of what it looks like. I hope I've been able to answer that
Okay.
question.
Yeah, so just as a follow-up question,
Yes.
so how long, say a tractor is working every day,
Yes.
how long would it take to get your money back on an
We
average?
typically looks 3 years, 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
But mind you, in this time frame, you also own the equipment.
Saying you own the equipment, yes.
Yes. So getting your money back is getting your money back plus having access to sell the equipment again. Do you understand me? So
Mm.
you own the equipment is there. Your capital is there. You are just still working to get it back. If you eventually
Yeah,
get your capital back with the equipment still there, that means you have like times two of what you usually put in. Do you understand
true,
what I'm saying?
true. Yes.
I thought to make that clear as well.
But what's the depreciation rate for tractors for all these equipment? After how many
Uh,
years should you be looking to replace with good maintenance, with proper maintenance?
mm, say 10 years.
Okay. So a tractor can work optimally for 10 years before you should
Yes.
look to replace. And you
Yes.
get your money back in 3 years. So for 7 years, all right. Thank you. Thanks so much. So someone is asking, probably a farmer, if you have incentives, your own place, if you have incentives for bringing in clients for land clearing. So I have a farm and I want
Yeah.
to help you pull other smallholder farmers. What will
Yes.
you give me?
Okay. That's a very good question. In an ideal situation, we will need incentive if we were to be chasing the market. But now, as it stands, the market is chasing us. So
Mm-hmm.
we have farmers for land clearing that we are turning away. We are apologizing for not being able to go to their farms. So I'm sorry if you bring someone to us, not only will not be able to pay incentive, we might not even be able to go and do the work. So because of there's so much demand and there's so much time on our hands, do you understand me, please? I hope the
Not
person
even a
gets.
percentage of,
Say again.
I said not even percentage of, you won't give 10% off of the funds for,
I mean, when demand, how do we give? Incentives are like, when you're marketing and you need customers and you are calling for these customers and you need them to come, then you want to give incentives, then you want to give promos, then you want to encourage them to come. Now we have more than we can chew. Probably. So how we don't even have time to be thinking about incentive. What we are thinking about is how to solve what we have, retain customers' trust, let them know that we are sorry we are not coming this year, but we are going to come next year. We are just making plans for all of that. However, if the person were to bring us a government contract, that would be a different situation.
Okay,
How can you
so
that?
Mr. Usman, I guess you can see him after this to discuss big contracts. So we have a last question here from Mr. Abbas. Mr. Abbas from NEDF. Thank you so much for joining our conversation this morning. He's asking if you use insurance for your equipment and if you use trackers. So two questions. Do you have insurance for your equipment in case of eventualities? And how do you track your equipment location?
Yes, we have insurance for equipment. Previously, used to have trackers running on MTN network, right? But right now, we do not have trackers on our equipment. We have plans to go back to it. The challenges that we've had with the network situation in the country has not allowed us to do so much on that. And for now, because of the space where our tractor operates, we can easily manage them. We can easily monitor them. We've not given tractors out of uh, where we can go to see them and manage them. So we've not really been big on tractor. Yeah, but I know tractor. We used to use a tractor when I was in Lagos and the tractor was in Shendam. We used a tracker.
Okay, so what kind of trackers do you make use of? And is this another sector that someone can invest in? I don't own a tractor, but I have trackers for tractors. So are they special kind of trackers or what are the
No, not
trackers like?
not so special kind of trackers. The same type you have for your car, the same type you have for. It's just a bit more sophisticated with the software. So the trackers we used to use before, when the tracker comes, the tracker comes and is working, you can see the start time, you can see the end time. That's just basically it. It does not really show you much details. Just start time, end time, and location.
Okay.
However, with improvement in technology and depending on how sophisticated you want to go, you might have the one that would be showing you the work terrain as you work. It all depends on what you want for yourself.
All right, thank you so much. I think we have taken all the questions in the chat. If anyone else have another question, in the next few minutes, you can just raise your hands or unmute your mic and ask your questions. And he would be here to take your questions. So Mr. Edmond is the founder of Tracco Engineering, located in Benue State. But as he said, they can go around the Middle Belt. Their services go cover the Middle Belt region. So you can reach him on these contacts. That's his phone number, his email address, and his location. Thank you all for joining. If you have any questions within the next few minutes, we can just take them. Please follow us, Agroye, on all social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. A replay of this would be available on YouTube in the next few days, and you can just go through in case you joined late or missed any section, any segment of the conversation, and would like to follow. So you can follow the replay broadcast on YouTube. Thank you all once again for joining. We would continue with our trainings and Agroye. We hope that we can reach out to you at any point in time and ask you to join on our trainings. Thank you for your time this morning. We really appreciate you. We have another question. How do you manage security for your machines on site? You talked about the level of insecurity at some point, that there are some places that you won't go to. But say you did not expect and you went to this place and there is insecurity, how do you secure your really large equipment?
The first thing is to pull out of the place. That's like a no-brainer. Is to move the equipment. But because I had a situation, there was a time I was working in somewhere in Benue State called Naka, and overnight there was a serious attack, and we just had to move the next day and return to state capital. But the number one thing that we do is that we do not go to areas that are prone to attacks. So we all know if you are in the industry or you're in the space, you'll be vast to know that there are places where they have had repeated attacks. Even if it's suspected and repeats, there's a high chance that there could be an attack, not this year, next year, whatever. We do not totally go to that area. Not forget, we don't go there. And if there's an attack or an illegal area immediately, and do report for everyone there. So there's no other place. There are some other cases where clients have made special provisions for security outfits to be present on the farm while their work is being done. So these are also measures that the client can take and say, okay, we are going to get civil defense or we are going to get the military while they are working here for this number of days. They are going to be present and just secure you, secure the equipment, secure staff, and all of that. So, but aside this, we don't go to where it's prone to attack. We don't.
Okay, well, apart from insurgents, what about in case of the tractor being stolen or this equipment being stolen? How do you protect your equipment from thieves and all of that?
It's very interesting because I get asked question a lot and I laugh. I laugh because a tractor is not it's not like a car, or if you start a tractor now, yeah, the sound is enough to wake anybody sleeping around. So it's not something that you can steal by pushing it, or you can steal by just it's not. But we've had cases where we are working on a large farm, we are somewhere in the bush, we are not able to return. In that cases, we have to employ a security officer to stay with the tractor and just monitor it. At that location, if you start the tractor, no one will be able to hear you because there are no houses around. But either ways, what we do is every day after work, the tractor returns back to a community where people are living, where people are sleeping. That is where they don't sleep on the farm, they do not work on the farm. We return back to a community. That way, we're able to be at one with them. We also be able to secure ourselves.
All right. Thank you so much. So again, I ask if anyone else have a question and would like to unmute, you can just go ahead, unmute your mic and ask your questions or raise your hands and we would give you the floor. While we have the expert here, let's ask all our questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Edmond, for your time. Thank you for being on this call. Thank you for answering all our questions and giving your insights to agricultural mechanization. We're really grateful to have you here. I speak on behalf of everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Please, if you have questions, now is the time. The next 3 minutes, let's take questions. All right, while we wait, please remember to follow us on all social media platforms. You can reach out to us via our WhatsApp number. We are there to take your questions or to give you more details about Agroye. You can follow our WhatsApp channel for updates from time to time. Follow us on Twitter at Agroye Media, on Facebook as Agroye, on Instagram as Agroye Media, and on TikTok as Agroye Media as well. We also have an online presence on LinkedIn as Agroye. You can follow the company for updates. on YouTube. As I said earlier, the replay would be available on YouTube on Agroye Media page. And our website for all our blogs and articles remain agroye.com. It's been a few minutes, so I believe everyone's questions has been answered and everyone is quite clear on the subject of agric mechanization. So once again, thank you, Mr. Edmond, and thanks to everyone that has joined the call so far. We really appreciate and we wish you a restful weekend ahead. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me here. I want to encourage everyone to please come into the space. There's enough room for us, and we need a lot of active players in the agri space. Please come in. Please find a way to partner, find a way to invest. As they say agriculture is the new oil, and it is now available for us to be part of it and own blocks of it. So thank you very so much, everyone. Thank you, Agroye. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.